Let's record. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and germs. Listen, I've started something here. I can tell everybody's figuring out how to do this thing. You know, it's a Vulcan salute. It's not that hard. A little duct tape if you're in doubt. Well, that works. Listen, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. Yes. Well, there's actually a story behind that too. It's the John Lavenia Success Mastermind for your Wednesday, April 21 of 21, 4/21/21. Is that some kind of a pattern? But anyway, yeah, I'm your guy, Glen Henderson. So great to be with you. And I am speaking to you this morning from a bar. I am speaking to you from Moe's Place Country Bar in Katy, Texas. And the reason I'm speaking to you today from Moe's Place Country Bar in Katy, Texas is because it's the quietest place I could find. I went over to my office this morning to discover that the owner of the building had engaged a roofer to come and replace the roof today. And so that's what I was getting in my office. So I thought, you know what? Where can I go and get some to be able to speak to my family in some peace and quiet? Oh, I know. A country bar with music pumping in the background. That'll do. So here we are. It's so great to see you. What do they say? What do they say, Lieutenant Colonel? When stuff goes sideways, what do? Improvise, adapt, overcome. So here I is, and you are having a drink of coffee with me this morning. Who's here with us? Daisy, Emma. So nice to see you. You're out in the beautiful, great outdoors. Very nice. Hello, Suzanne. Ade, welcome. So good to see you, Ade. And Sandra, our man holding it down in London. Good to see you, Cyril. And Lynn Jackson, welcome to the family. Dr. Apogee, John, good to see you, man. Lindsay, the money mama, Dalla. Lindsay's here. And Evelyn Smith and Virginia, Linda Landry. Allie, nice to see you. Is that a piano behind you? Excellent. See, I knew I liked you. Sandy Lewis is here. The good Lieutenant Colonel Mark Riegel is here. And of course, you know, none of us be here if it weren't for the man, the myth, the Godzilla, Mr. John Lavenia. So good to see you, brother. And it's so great. How about a little housekeeping? What do you say? Hey, it's John in his kitchen. All right then. Little housekeeping. What's going on with the Mastermind today? Well, let's see. I'm running around. You know, this is all happening. This all kind of happened at the last minute here, so I'm sort of shifting around. But y'all will excuse me. It'll only take me a moment here to get it. There we go. And there's the calendar. And right now you are in the gin sesh with me and with all of our other friends. Right after this, our hospitality suite is open. Swing by and say hi. Books for Britain with Mandy Anderson. Note the time change. 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 p.m. Eastern time today with Mandy Anderson and Brooks for Britain. And then tonight, it's Networking Magic with yours truly, showing you how to build your contact list and power your business with the power of networking. So I came across something to just this morning as I was doing some morning reading. And of course you had to know, right, that the story would have something to do with either Star Trek or bourbon, right? Yeah. Actually, it's not bourbon. It's coffee. I told you before, drinking coffee this morning. But actually, the story does have, what I'm going to share with you, does have an indirect connection to whiskey. Single malt Scotch. Actually, no. Pot still Irish whiskey, to be specific. Glenn, what in the heck are you talking about whiskey for? And why are you talking about whiskey at 11 o'clock in the morning? Well, pump the brakes, sweetie, I'll tell you. Here's what's going on. Paula and I celebrated our 2nd anniversary in Ireland, which was absolutely fabulous. Our first anniversary was interesting because we actually celebrated our first anniversary on separate continents. See, at the time we got married, Paula had just been hired or transferred to a new job with her company. We had just moved to Houston, got married, and Paula immediately, almost immediately, got transferred to a job in Scotland, in Aberdeen, Scotland, where the company was. She was living there. She lived there full time for 2 years. So unfortunately, we got to celebrate our first anniversary on separate continents, which was interesting. Second, and it made us even more deeply appreciate the moment when we did get the time when we did get to celebrate our anniversary together, the second anniversary in Ireland. We were in Dublin, and we happened to be walking around one day, kind of taking a tour of the area, and we came across something that looked really interesting. It was a church, a small cathedral, you might say. I don't know if that's a contradiction in terms, a small cathedral. But anyway, it was a small church building that had converted into, wait for it, a distillery. Yes. See, you think I'm jiving. The Pierce Lyons Distillery. You can write this down, by the way. P-E-A-R-S-E Lyons, L-Y-O-N-S. The Pierce Lyons Distillery in Dublin, Ireland. It had been open when we walked in. Well, you got to check it out, right? When we walked in, the place had been open for exactly 72 hours. Of course, they've been distilling and aging their whiskey for some time before that so that they could have it available for sale. But we walked in, and they gave us a lovely tour of the facility and got to learn a lot about how Irish whiskey is made, pot still whiskey. It's a really fascinating process. You ought to look into it. If you're a fan of distilled spirits, you'd find it interesting. Anyway, we told them that it was our anniversary. Oh, wonderful, congratulations. They went down in the basement and they dusted off a bottle of the good stuff and gave that to us. We were able to bring that home. Absolutely fantastic. And then we learned a little bit about, in the course of the tour and the conversations and everything, we learned a little bit about the founder of Pierce Lyons Distillery, a man named, you'll never guess, Pierce Lyons. He was born and raised in Dublin, came over to the U.S. and made his fortune in information technology. Kind of, you might think of it, if some of y'all remember the name, you might think of him as the Ross Perot of Scotland, of Ireland, excuse me. The Ross Perot, you know, data systems and so forth, made billions. And when he retired, he wanted to bring something back or give something back to the country of his birth, Ireland. So what's an Irishman to do? He founded the Pierce Lyons Distillery. Really, really wonderful whiskeys. Very hard to find in the US. If you can find some, let me know. Know what I'm saying? So anyway, Pierce Lyons was, it was apparently during his business days, was apparently quite a fantastic businessman and business leader. He wrote a book which we were able to pick up there at the distillery. It was a book called 1 Minute Charge. And in here are sayings. There's your guy, Mr. Pierce Lyons. And the subtitle of the book, Daily Tips for Successful Business Management. And so it's kind of like a coffee table book. It sort of goes through the alphabet. I'll give you a couple of examples here. One example, under A, what do we got? Awareness. Be aware of your surroundings today, says. Be like a guest. There is a Polish proverb that says, a guest sees more in an hour than the host in a year. So be aware of your surroundings and you will see the opportunities. It's, you know, little things like that. Sort of 1 minute, couple of paragraphs, 1 minute sort of charges, as in battery, things to charge you up for your day. You see what I mean? You kind of get where I'm going with this. So in going through this, I'm up to the E's, under the letter E, and it was one really interesting one here. And here's where I want us to park this morning and unpack this a little bit. Under E, he gives a list, write down the most important words. Write down your 5 E's. You may want to take a note or two, except you, Gail. Both hands on the wheel. Let's go. Safety first. So 5 E's. It's interesting how he puts it. You may remember some time ago when I shared with us in a general session about four powerful words. How can I help? Remember that? So Pierce Lyons does something very similar with these that you may want to write down. Check this out. He goes the five most important words, the four, the three, and so forth. The five most important words. How can I help you? How can I help you? The four most important words are, what do you think? What do you think? The three most important words, this one's interesting. The three most important words, after you, please. After you, please. The two most important words, you can probably guess. Thank you. And the one most important word, we. He also goes on to give you a little bonus, a little, honorable mention. The least important word, me. Now let's go back and take a look. Now we've already talked about how can I help you? The five most important words. I believe our friend the Godzilla would agree that income, our wealth is determined, among other things, by how many people we serve and how well we serve them. As a matter of fact, that is in The Go-Giver. That book that I was that I was sharing with us on some of the Wednesday nights, the second law of stratospheric success. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So that can get to cut a little close to the bone, huh? So if I look at my income, my bank account, and it's not where I think it should be, not where I think it ought to be, or where I think it needs to be, there's probably one overriding reason, and that is I'm not serving enough people. I'm not helping enough people. So find a way with your product, with your service, with your e-commerce venture, with your network, with your friends, your colleagues. Find a way to serve them. Find a way to help them achieve their goals first, which we'll come back to in a minute. Find a way to help them achieve their goals. And you'll be pleasantly surprised, I think, at how quickly your goals and the achievement of your goals will begin to present themselves. Right? Moving on, the four most important words. What do you think? For those of you who have read my book so far, All I Need to Know About Success I Learned from Star Trek, the second chapter of the book is called All Hands. This is the captain. And it tells the story of one of the episodes from Star Trek where Captain Kirk, among other things, among other activities, he's trying to win a battle against a very difficult enemy, very challenging opponent. And in order to do this, he assembles his senior officers for a briefing. And one of the things he says, even when one of his officers is really getting vociferous and pounding the table and shouting at another one of the officers, he calms him down. But then he says, go ahead. I called this briefing for opinions. So if we are working in a team, if you are collaborating with one or two or 10 people, it's important. In fact, I think it's vitally important to seek out opinions, seek out input among your colleagues, among your teammates, especially opinions with which you may not agree. Why? Because different information, different opinion has a way of, if we're open to it, it has a way of opening our minds to new possibilities, to new ways of thinking and of doing and of seeing the world. So what do you think? Three most important words. After you, please. It goes back to an ancient an ancient teaching, the ancient biblical principle to think of others as before ourselves, putting others first, not, by the way, putting ourselves last. It's a subtle difference. Here's what I mean. When I'm working with someone as a new customer, or someone in my business group, or someone in my networking organization to whom I'm passing a referral, or I find out that they have a need in their business, my priority there, if I'm thinking right, if I'm doing it right, my priority is to make sure that his goals get accomplished, to make sure that I'm doing everything I can do to help Ali accomplish her goal before I put a whole bunch of attention on my own goals, a whole bunch of effort and energy into my goals. It sounds kind of contradictory, doesn't it? In a way. Well, now, wait a minute. I'm trying to accomplish my goals. How is helping somebody else going to accomplish my goal? Well, Zig Ziglar, you can have anything in this world you want if you will simply help enough other people get what they want. It is the way the universe is designed, my friends. And the more we resist that idea, both physically, both mentally, and in our actions, the more we do what the ancient writer says, the more we're kicking our feet against the thorns. It's just the way the universe works. You want something, go help somebody else get it first. It's just the way it works. Why? Ask the stars. That's the way it works. Two most important words. Thank you. Gratitude. Oh boy, we just got through talking about that, didn't we? With the science of getting rich, an attitude of gratitude. Once again, Zig Ziglar said, gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. The things that gratitude does. Number one, gratitude helps us to forget about our problems. Puts our own problems in perspective. Oh man, they told me it was only going to take 2 days to get my roof done, and it's taking a whole week. What's wrong with these guys? Oh, right. You're complaining about your roof, work on your roof, which somebody else doesn't even have a roof. You picking up what I'm putting down? Start each day, right? So many of us, when we go into the whole miracle morning routine that many of us have found that have developed to help us get our days off to a good start, one of the first things we do is make a list. Could be 2 things, could be 5, could be 10 things, could be 50 things. I once went through an exercise for every day for 10 days. Make a list of 50 things you're grateful for. 50. Oh, I can't think of 50. Oh, really? Number 1, you woke up this morning. A lot of people didn't. Number 2, you had enough of your health to roll over and turn off the alarm, swing your feet off the side of the bed and stand up. You know how many people literally, physically cannot do that? You went to your bathroom and you brushed your teeth. My mother-in-law, my wife's mother, did not have a toothbrush until she was 14 years old. Did not own a toothbrush. So that's 3 right there. How many more can you think of? You went to your kitchen and you got a cup of coffee. Oh, wait, you have a kitchen in your house. Are you kind of getting the idea? So many things we can be grateful for. And, sometimes we forget. It's so silly. Sometimes we forget to thank people for doing things for us. When's the last time you went out to a restaurant? Did you thank the busboy for bringing you a glass of water? Well, maybe you did. Perhaps you are more evolved than most. And I would venture to guess that many of us here in the John Lavenia Success Mastermind are more involved, more evolved than others. Do you know how many times I've been in a restaurant and the server comes up to the table and, hello, my name is Joe, and I'll be your server. I'll be helping you today. What would you like? Oh, I want this, want this, want this, want this. Great, I'll be right back. And bring all the stuff, and it looks fantastic. And yeah. Come on, man. How hard is it to say thank you? And it spreads goodwill, right? It begins to create that sort of friendly connection with the person who has served you. And I'll guarantee you this, I can tell you from experience, the nicer you are to your server, your bartender, your waiter, whatever it is, give them a nice tip too. That's a nice way of thanking your server. Why? Because they'll appreciate that nice tip. They appreciate friendly conversation. And the next time you come back, they'll be glad to see you. And all you did was say thank you. And all you did was give a friendly vibe. Oh, by the way, back to the previous thing. Thank you. Saying thank you continuously reminds us of our daily blessings, of how much we have to be thankful for. Does that make sense? My wife is the queen of thank yous. You know that, ladies, you're going to love this. I do most of the dishes in our house. I do the dishes most of the time. I do the laundry most of the time. I do most of the house cleaning. And Mark is like, yeah, man, you think that's something? This guy. And every time Paula comes into the kitchen, it's, honey, thank you so much for cleaning up the kitchen. I really appreciate it. Did I get the T's correct? Did I get the proper British T's? I really appreciate it, honey. Every time. Every single stinking time. I can't do something in the house without Paula's thanking all over me for it. It's great. Now, what's weird, sometimes it kind of gets under my skin. What? You resent being thanked? No, I don't resent being thanked. Don't get it twisted, as they say. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the fact that she notices. Here's the thing. My dad, God rest his soul, taught us by his actions, that if something needs doing, do it. Something in the house needs to be done, just do it. And you're not doing it because you're fishing for compliments or if you're looking for a bunch of gratitude and appreciation. You do the thing because it needs to be done without expectation of reward. So I guess my mindset has always been, if something needs doing, just do the thing, whether anybody thanks you or even notices or not. So most of it, a lot of times, but Paula, oh, thank you so much, honey. I'm thinking, thank me for what? It needed to be done. You see what I mean? So it's kind of it's sort of a happy conflict, if you know what I mean. Like, oh, honey, really, think nothing of it. It needed to be done. I was going to do it anyway. But, thank you so much for the, anyway. And the number one most important word, we. Success is a team sport. This is one of the things that we learn in BNI, the networking organization of which I'm a professional part. Success, business success is a team sport. I'm going to prove it to you right now. Shall I prove it? If you don't have your camera on, please flick your camera on for a second. Look, if you're indecent, please don't turn your. I don't need to see this. I don't need to. If you can turn your camera on for a second, please flick your camera on for just a minute. And I want to just say, by a show of hands, those of you who feel you've accomplished something or maybe achieved some level of success or achievement or whatever in your life, raise your hand if you did it all by yourself, all on your own. Just you, had no help from nobody. You did it. Raise your hand. Everybody look around. Okay, now, is success a team sport? So that's why we're here, by the way, inside the John Lavenia Success Mastermind, because we realize that each of us has strengths. Each of us has things that we do really, really well. And each of us has areas of our skill set where we can take advantage of the mastermind and of teamwork to accomplish those things, to carry out and execute those strengths which we don't yet have. Does that make sense? We've all got our specialty, we've all got our strength, and we're all here in the mastermind for the rest of it. So, old African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I always thought that was pretty cool. So success is a team. That's why I've always been a fan of team sports. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, or should I say football. Teams, I like teams. I like individual stuff too. Team sports, this is the ultimate means of expressing that principle of camaraderie, that principle that no one succeeds alone. And the least important word, me, doesn't mean it's meaningless. Your goals are important. You are important. You are a vital member of the mastermind. You are a vital part of your team, of your organization, of your company, of your business group. You are a vital part. You're not the most important part. Now, did I just stick a pin in your ego just then? Did I? Good. Yes, you are not the most important part. Why? Because how can I help you? Because what do you think? Because after you, please. Because if you want to succeed, you must develop the habit of making other people's goals more important than your own. Ooh, that's pretty good. So five most important words. How can I help you? What do you think? After you, please. Thank you. And we. Now see, we've got something to think about for today. Hey, thank you all so much. I'm going to quit running my mouth right now because I would love to hear from you. I would love to see you pop your hand up and share your thoughts. I haven't really been following the chat. I know y'all talking about whiskey in there, aren't you? Or Guinness, or yes, that's right, Mark. It's across the street from Bow Street. That's right. No, Guinness. Yes, from the Guinness Storehouse. Absolutely. Guinness. We also went to Jameson Distillery on Bow Street in Dublin. Fantastic. So, who's got a thought about these most important words? What did I miss? What do you disagree with? What additional thought is burning a hole in the pocket of your brain? So let me hear from you. See, here's the thing. If somebody don't put their hand up, I'm just going to keep running my mouth. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saving me, Ali. Come on. Good afternoon. How you doing?
No, just brilliant, Glenn. Thank you. I think I found this whole working for Amazon business and the whole lockdown and everything very I mean, you think of others around you, but business wise it's been very insular, and thinking about my position and lack of income and all of the rest of it. So it's just great to it's a relief now things are opening up, and just to think outwards and think of others, and both in business as well as neighborly stuff, which has been going on a lot. That's a lovely thing that's been going a lot in lockdown. But I think business wise I felt very insular, so it's lovely to have that reminder to think out and focus on others. So thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you for being with us here. That's so interesting. It's almost as if now that things are open up. Can I share a secret with you? I never went into lockdown. I kept going out. But that's just me. If folk can do what they choose to do. But I see your point, Ali, and it seems to me part of what you may be saying is that it's almost as if we may need to redevelop the habit of interacting with other people. You know, that we may need to redevelop the habit of thinking and reaching and acting outside of ourselves, because we've become so used to hanging around at home and not seeing anybody and not, you see what I mean? Is that kind of, yeah. And I'm seeing evidence, as you know, going around Houston, that people are beginning to come out of their shells just a little, you know, and not just the house as their shell, but this shell, right? And so it becomes incumbent upon us as leaders, because you wouldn't be here in the mastermind if you weren't a leader. It becomes incumbent upon us as leaders to lead the way in reaching out, to be the first one to put our hand out. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you again. It's our job to open up the world. As a matter of fact, BNI, the organization that I'm a part of, their slogan last year, their stated purpose was restarting the world. So then it becomes our job as leaders, as business leaders, as connectors, as networks, to restart our world, to reactivate our networks. And we have what it takes. And thank you so much, Ali, for pointing that out and for reminding us that we have the power to do that. And we have at every moment the choice to do that. Now, see, I'm fixing to volunteer somebody. Put your hand up. See, if you don't, like I told you, if you don't, I'm just going to keep running my mouth. I'll tell you a story. About a year and a half ago, something like that, I was participating in another business building mastermind with a great mentor, another great coach and mentor of mine. And there was a young lady who was also part of the mastermind, who reached out to me after one of the evening sessions. Said, "Hey, Glenn, you know, I really appreciated what you said about the thus and such topic and the business and everything. Would it be okay if we chatted a little bit offline?" I said, "Sure, no problem." So we got on the phone and we started talking. This is, by the way, this is in aid of the first thing that I shared today, the 5 most important words. How can I help you? So we started chatting, and she was sharing with me some of her struggles in business and questions that she had about different things. And I answered her questions. I shared my own, from my own experience and insights, you know, in any way that I felt might help her. And she, "Oh, thank you so much, Glenn. I really appreciate it." And it got to a thing, you know, the first little while, it was maybe a couple conversations a month, something like that. You know, just to drop a little pearl or something in the exchange, bounce ideas off each other. That went on for several months, and just sharing what I had learned with her. And over the course of time, maybe 6 months, almost a year. Now, so after almost a year, something happened. Here's what happened. Many of you know that for a very long time, I've been involved in the network marketing space, home business and direct selling, that sort of thing. And how I make money, one way I make money is by referring and bringing new customers to my company, and bringing new partners into my business group. I didn't say anything to her over that first year. I didn't say anything to her about my business or anything like that, business, products, services, nothing. Just chatting, offering my advice and tips and things. And she would say, "Well, Glenn, you know, what's your business?" I said, "Don't worry about it. My business, I'm cool. Don't worry about it. What do you need? What's going on with you?" And then we would talk and talk. And after about a year of just conversations and helping, and how can I help you? What do you need? She finally says to me, "Glenn, I don't really know what it is you do, but I'm kind of interested to work with you. Can you tell me a little something about your business?" So I did. We shared a little information, and she made the decision to join, to enroll, and she's a part of my business group, doing well. And now we speak every day of the week for coaching, for conversation, for support, for my kind of helping and guiding her into building a successful business. So where did that come from? It came from Them 5 words. How can I help you? And it wasn't that I said anything so great or profound or stuff that she had never heard before. It was simply that I was willing to listen, willing to hear, give her time to let her thoughts flow out, which clearly she hadn't had for quite a while. And yes, to offer advice and tips where I could. And what started to happen was a relationship began to be built to the point where she wanted to work with me. And it really wouldn't have mattered much exactly what I was doing. Because she wanted, because she had been working with me, and particularly because I had not charged her a dime or had not said word one about what I wanted, then she felt compelled to inquire about my business, and now here we are. So what I'm talking about here with how can I help you with putting other people's goals first, this is not an instantaneous thing. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a long-term process of mutual growth and success together. And I say to people all the time, if you're looking for get rich quick, you're talking to the wrong guy. Because this guy don't do get rich quick. This guy does relationships. You've heard me say it before. Everything in life is about creating relationships. Everything. So it looks like we may have a slightly abbreviated Gen Sesh today, which is perfectly okay. It gives us more time to hang out over in the hospitality suite. So let's see now. Let's see. Any final thought? Hey, Ade, who is that good-looking gal there by you? Who is that? Hello. Nice to see you. Hey, how are you?
My daughter Agnes.
Agnes. Hi, Agnes. Nice to see you. Sometime we need to introduce Agnes Larigo to Trinity Lavenia. We get Trinity out there. Introduce the 2 of them. They'll have a high old time. What do you think? Nice. Well, now I'm seeing Evelyn. That's a gorgeous background. I assume that's like real life, right, Evelyn? It's not a background. You're actually out in the great outdoors.
I am in the great outdoors watching the wild animals.
Ooh, nice. Fantastic. Well, I am in the great indoors watching the wild animals.
The country and western bar. There you go.
Of a slightly different sort, but that's okay. Listen, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that so many of us have decided to spend a few minutes hearing about. I'm going to review, like the old preacher used to say, right? Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them, and tell them what you done told them. How can I help you? What do you think? After you, please. Thank you. And we here in the John Lavenia Success Mastermind are and will be forever grateful to our fearless leader, the man himself. I call him the machine, John the Machine Lavenia. Thank you so much for putting this together for us, my brother. We are.
Hey, let me get back here real quick, man. I've been
Go ahead, brother.
taking care of family business, and business is good. I just still need to shave. Thank you for these insights from someone who has had some success in their life, right? I mean, that's the barometer that I use is, does it hold water? And it seems to, right? One thing that just made me think, not to drag this out, because we're looking to wrap up and get on with our next actions. But what do you think? That's something I never ask people in the sales world. You understand where I'm coming from? So
I think so. Please go forward.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, how can I apply this stuff into my life? I'll tell you probably the most powerful thing that I'm thinking about as I was listening while I was running around the house and doing everything, is acknowledgement. In fact, I wrote about this in Integrity is Everything. Acknowledgement, right? The guy pours you water, you thank him, right? That's validation, man. That's people want to be heard, and this can completely change a relationship where people are so quick to retort habitually, like with a knee-jerk reaction. But it doesn't have to be a confrontation. The point is that we're acknowledging the beingness of the other person. That's a big deal. A lot of people don't do that, and they wonder why they struggle with their relationships. So that's a big one. But as far as what do you think, back to that point, right? In fact, I think I made this comment on Monday in general session. We talked about people doing their due diligence. Was that Monday? Or was that book club? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, that was
I need to
Monday
do my
Jim session. Yep.
Yeah, I need to do my due diligence, even though I've got no experience or statistics or knowledge. How are you going to do your due diligence on something you're ignorant about? So I don't necessarily want to know what you think. The more deliberate question, this is again kind of a sales thing, is what did you like best about what you saw? And then whatever they say, now you get to acknowledge that. Yeah, I think that's great too, right? So they're telling me what they think was best. So I'm just kind of steering that conversation in the direction that it needs to go, so they can actually get a benefit from their interaction with me. You know, what we validate expands. So let's validate what was right about it. Is the offer perfect? No. Almost. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Well, let's do it then. Let's do it. Here's what I like best about it.
Yeah.
Right. Inducing decision on the part of others who want the benefits that you provide. So anyway, there's my little impromptu. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, John. That's, and that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, John, because too many people, as you say, in that sales process will ask that almost a kiss of death question. What do you think? So what do you think? Yeah, absolutely right. And now if you and I are working together on a goal, we're working on a project together, I absolutely want to know what you think, because I want your buy-in on the final purpose. You see what I mean? As we move forward together. I love it, man. I don't know about y'all. I could listen to John run his mouth all day long. Just saying. Absolutely.
That's great. Hey, you know what? We got a little bit of housekeeping, since I don't know if there's any other hands up. I'm not hosting today.
There is one other hand up, but go ahead, John.
Virginia Pipitone says, note to all members, remember to go to the people section of the JLSM member site and put in your member profile, especially how to get a hold of you. So you're talking about networking. Virginia wants to network, right? Once you have filled out the form, then send it in and John will upload it. Yep. So we have staff that do all that stuff, and it's very simple. There's a template for PC and a template for Mac. Just go ahead and click that, fill it in, and you get to be famous. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, John. And thank you, Virginia, for reminding us, and welcome to our new members, Sandra and Ade. We're so glad you came to join us. Now, our good friend, Hung San, has her hand up. How are you, Hung San? Nice to see you.
Oh, hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. When kind of like thinking through what we talked about today, I mean, it's so true that I think we kind of have to step back and put our own like needs and ego aside and focus on the relationship and creating a relationship. And to do that, we always have to focus on like listening, like asking the question and truly waiting for the response, right? Like, like how can I help you? What's going on with you? And it's not just to make conversation, but it's to listen, take it in, and then respond in kind. And I feel like sometimes like life is just go, 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 and you're just rushing about, and you're thinking, I don't have time to really listen. But the truth is, I feel, I mean, in life, when we pause and do that, and really ask the questions that need to be asked and hear each other out, I think for all of us, we can get to a better place, to a win-win situation. And, you know, whether in personal relationships, at work, or whatever that is. And it's funny, I mean, I shared that, you know, I'm currently looking for work again. I love COVID. Anyways, work is, yeah, anyways. But I find that in, you know, looking for the right fit, when you're able to have a real conversation with the person, really understand what their needs are, what's going on, what their headaches are, and that I feel that I can truly contribute and bring value to them, you know, and it's mutual. Like that is the best situation you can ask for. And in order to get to that place, you really need to open up and allow yourself to make that happen. Anyways, in short, I really appreciated today's topic, and thank you so much again.
Thank you, Hung San, and thank you for reminding us to listen. Take the time, pause, listen. I'm reading a book right now. I was actually talking about this. I was a couple of times on the Networking Magic call. It's a book that I found by Kate Murphy. The book's called "You're Not Listening: What You're Missing and Why It Matters." She's a journalist based here in Houston, and she talks about this, developing the skill, the art of listening. And sometimes it usually takes time to truly listen to someone to the point where they feel heard. We've talked about this before. We've talked about this as well before, right? Remember that general session topic I talked about a while ago? What do women want? What do women want? Women want to be heard. And if I don't listen, if I just start spouting off a bunch of solutions and a bunch of this, do this, do that, do the other, blah, 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 I may end up answering a question you didn't ask. I may end up solving a problem, giving a solution to a problem that you didn't have. And how much of a jerk does that make me look like? And the reason I say this with such passion is because I've done it so many times. Started barking off answers, barking off solutions, issuing orders. Okay, do this, do that, do the other. And the person said, but that's not what I said. That's not what I asked you. Yeah. Well, there you go. So listen. Oh, and it's our friend in the U of K, Mandy Anderson. How are you? What's happening? Let me hear.
Hi, Glenn. I'm good, thank you. I was umming and ahhing about whether to say this, but I'm going to. So this comes back to my experience of what do you think? Again, so it seems to be this one that we're picking up today. In my experience on the work side, I think this one is used sometimes by management when they don't really want to know, but they think they should ask you. So they say, what do you think? But they've got an idea of what they really want to have in their heads, and they're just asking you because they think they should. I think Emma gave a good example once when it was to do with, what was it? It was to do with their mission statement or something, and they're all asked to do it, and they all write it out, and then the management take it back and then give out what they want anyway, which really makes it worthless to ask the question in the first place. And the other thing also is when you ask what you think, sometimes you don't want to say the truth because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. But then if they've asked you for what you think, then you really need to be honest with them, because if you're not going to be honest with them, then what was the point in them asking you in the first place? So I tend to try to say the truth, but to try to say it tactfully. But it can be very difficult, because if someone's asked you what you think, then I think it's really important that you say what you really think. Even if, as you said, it might not necessarily be what people want to hear. Because you're trying to help, you're not trying to be critical. And that's sometimes really hard if people are working for you. And over the years, I think I've tried to change things where, sometimes when you're younger and you're doing it, you might change what they've done. And then afterwards you think, no, as long, it might not be exactly what you wanted it to be, but as long as it's good enough and it's what they've done, don't change it too much, because in that case, they might have written a letter and, okay, so it's not in your words, but it gets across what you want it to. In that case, I just say, yeah, that's fine. It's good. So you learn over time as well with that. So but I think also, what do you think about my product? That's sometimes quite hard, because you don't want to know what they think either, but you have to ask that, don't you? Because if you don't, then you're not going to get a truthful, you want someone to give you the truth back if you ask them what the product, whether they think the product's good or not, or something, because if you don't, then you're not learning anything. So yeah, I think I like those 5.
Truth. George Orwell. In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. That's deep. But I like what you say, Mandy, about speaking the truth, about being honest. I actually wrote about this in my book, 6th chapter 6. It's called The First Duty. And it's about this very topic of speaking the truth, even when it's painful, is always better than lying. Always. Because sooner or later, my lie will be found out. And once my lie is found out, then there goes my reputation. There goes my word. And who wants to do business with a liar?
Yeah,
so I like that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And you said feedback. What do you think of our product? As you said, many times we're afraid. We don't ask that question because we're afraid of the answer. Now, I might maybe restrict my asking that question to people whom I trust, or to people who I know may have my best interest in mind. What do you think? Here's what I'm thinking to do. Here's the product. Here's the features. What do you, give me your honest opinion. I really want to know. You know, we learn so much more from honest criticism, don't we? Than from just patting us on the back. Yeah, good job, yeah, way to go, yeah. Right? What I really want to know, in many cases, what I really want to know is, what can I improve? What is there about my product? What is there about my presentation? What is there about my body language that I can do better, that I can improve, that I can tweak and streamline and chip away the rough edges to become truly, truly professional at what I do? That's what I need to know. That's what I need to hear. And I don't need you to sugarcoat it for me. If you are my friend, my teammate, if you really have my best interest in mind, I'll appreciate it more if you tell me the truth. It's one man's opinion. Well, we're coming down to the, thanks again, Mandy. Appreciate coming down the home stretch here. And any final thoughts, questions, comments, complaints? So glad to spend this hour with you all. And I've got to, I'm getting nice. I just gave a business referral to somebody last night about 11 o'clock. I'm hearing back from them now. This stuff works, I'm telling you. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. See you in the hospitality suite. See you at 3 with Mandy. See you tonight at 9 with me. And make it a fabulous day. We shall see you soon. Live long and prosper. Bye for now.